Hey good people, this is Ahmed Minaw from MinawaTube, and today we have a different video. Today we're going to talk about the fines and the penalties that you might face in case you break the laws of COVID-19 in Thailand or Indonesia, in particular Bali. So this video is very important. You will know a lot of information in case you're going for holiday in June, July, August, so you can just get away from those problems and not lose a lot of money in penalties and fine, and sometimes even do some push-ups as a penalty. So guys, let's start this video, and if you like this video guys, please subscribe to the channel and press the like button. Let's start the video. Let's start with Thailand. Thailand is the place I'm residing in at the moment, and of course it has its own laws when it comes to COVID-19 like any other country in the world, and it has its own fines, even jail time, up to jail time for people who break the COVID-19 law. So there is an emergency decree that was put up last year, so the Prime Minister has kind of full authority to put forward any law at any time that he sees beneficial for the government and for the country as a whole, without having to go through a lot of negotiation with the parliament and stuff like that. So when it comes to breaking the law in Thailand, violators of the emergency situation law for COVID-19 face up to 2 years in jail, and or it depends, sometimes you might have to also pay money, and sometimes you might pay money only. So you can pay a maximum of 40,000 baht, 40,000 Thai baht. Now 40,000 Thai baht is around $1,150, something like that. $1,150 or $1,250. So you can say something like that, yeah. And the law also says that anyone who intentionally conceals timeline, provides false information to health official, is violating the communicable disease decree, the act of which is known as the Act.Be 2558, which was in 2015. This was even before the pandemic. So yeah, if you conceal something, like you say that you're not sick, or you hide some information or something like that, you're also gonna be fined and going to jail. But not, this punishment is actually like considered to be like the normal kind of punishment for people who maybe are forgetful, maybe they don't put masks or something like that, or maybe they ignore putting masks and they do whatever they want, or maybe they're gathering in a bigger number, or they're like let's say buying alcohol or sitting and drinking alcohol together, let's say in a group or something like that, in the time where they have to be at home, or there's a curfew or something like that. Yeah, that's what happens to them. They usually either jailed for up to 2 months, or they pay a fine maximum of 40,000 baht. But if you are somebody who commits some kind of major penalty, like you have COVID-19 and you hide it, and you put other people in danger, or you run away from the hospital after they know that you're positive or something like that, or you put other people in danger, maybe intentionally you try to spread the virus or something like that. So there is, under an article of 49 to 57 act, a penalty for failing to comply with orders or relevant community or communicational disease, communicating with officers, telling them the truth about your situation. Now you can get imprisonment or fine. So the harshest of this imprisonment, now this is for like the major, the people who really don't care, they have COVID and they go and spread it all over the world, all over the community. For this one, they can go to jail up to 2 years. Like for example, when there is a spike of cases of COVID-19, and like some owners of clubs or owner of bars ignore the lockdown, where they're ordered to lock down and just open up and allow people to go in, and maybe they close the door and they allow people to go in and party. So these ones can go up to 2 years in jail and pay a maximum fine of 500,000 baht. Okay, you can calculate it in the money exchange on your calculator there, but it is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. So yeah, you should actually be very careful for disobeying these laws. In Asia at the moment there is spikes in the cases. Now Thailand is going through its third wave, but some other countries are already on their fourth wave, so they're even more sensitive when it comes to these laws. Now let me be honest with you, Thailand is not very strict. Like, it's not like they see you without a mask and they'll run after you directly or something like that, but they'll let it go once, twice, three times, and they'll always try to help you and give you a mask and let it go on. Just only they let you go with a warning. So it's very lenient compared to other countries, even in the same region in Asia. but you still shouldn't like push the boundaries. You can meet a policeman who is in not in his best mood that day, and he'll directly punish you, either give you a fine or even take you to jail if you refuse to pay the fine. So yeah, that's when it comes to Thailand. So let me give you some examples. Like for example, in Thailand there was a celebrity. I wouldn't mention his name at the moment, but is a DJ, and he had a house party. Of course, he invited a lot of people. There weren't many masks, music, people were dancing, and alcohol past the curfew time, and they were busted. And the police went in, and he was taken to court, 2 months in prison, and he had to pay 20,000 baht fine. Okay, so this is like an example. It happens to Thai people and it happens to foreigners. So if you're a foreigner, don't think that they're gonna ignore you. It can happen to you too. Okay, and um, when, let's say for example, you as foreigners, maybe you're not having a party, maybe you're having a barbecue or something like that. Like lately there was a video online here in Thailand, in Phuket, where foreigners were sitting together, a group of them around six, mixed with some Thai, and they were just having a barbecue weekend, just they were sitting near the swimming pool, but the neighbors apparently thought that they were having a party, so they called the police. And when the police came and they turned on already their cameras, the police, so it was very hard for them to like just let it go. So they didn't want to believe there wasn't any music or something, but the fact for them, it was just enough that they were gathered there, and some of them weren't wearing masks in like a gathering for of like 6 people, which is not a law, but you can gather, but it's not like for them it was enough for them to just fine two of them for not wearing the mask, 6,000 baht, two foreigners. So this is an example of Thai or an example of foreigners. Most of the time you won't go to jail. Like going to jail is really when you just break the law completely, but you just have to like be mindful that you would get a fine, and most of the time it's gonna be between 5,000 baht to 10,000 baht, but it can go higher. Depends on the mood of the officer who catches you and on in which situation he catches you. So yeah, that's it for Thailand. So now let me talk about Bali and what happens in Bali in case you break the law of COVID-19. Let's start talking about Bali right now. First of all, is Bali on lockdown? No, it's not on lockdown. So if you manage to get into Indonesia, and then from Indonesia, let's say from Jakarta, you take a flight, internal flight to Bali, you would be able to enter Bali. It's totally fine. But does that mean that there is no any COVID-19 measures? That the local government there in Bali doesn't have any kind of measures for people who are breaking the law or breaking any kind of decree that is made by the government for people not wearing masks or something? Definitely there is. Yes, there is no lockdown, but most of the major, let's say, supermarkets or major restaurants, big restaurants or something like that, bars, nightlife places, are they have to shut down by 11 p.m. And this was extended. Before it was by 9 p.m., let's say midnight last year, but now they made it a little bit better. Now in the middle of 2021, they can actually stay at till 11 p.m. So yeah, you have to wear a mask at all time. So you must wear a mask outside. Modern markets must close by 11 p.m. You will get penalty for 100,000 rupiah. Like this is 100,000 Indonesian money, which is equivalent to 6.77 US dollars, but let's say $7 if you're not wearing a mask. But also there's a talk that it has been increased to 150,000 rupiah, which is around $9. So just put that in mind, that you always have to keep your mask on. Another thing that they're saying that is happening also in Bali, which is a little bit weird, you can say, but also it happened in Asia in particular. It happened in India in the beginning of the pandemic, where people were forced to do push-ups in case they're breaking the laws. Let's say they're not social distancing or they're not wearing a mask. So in Bali, if you're not wearing a mask and you're on even if you're on a motorbike alone, a traffic policeman or any kind of other policeman can stop you and get you off your bike, remove your helmet, and tell you to give him 20 push-ups or 50 or 100, depending on how fit you are. He just can bring a number out of his head, and if you refuse or you can't do the push-ups, then you will pay the fine. So it depends. So this fine is kind of flexible. Now Bali, like Thailand, they don't really want to be so confrontational to tourists or confrontation to their own people, but at the same time they want to implement these laws in a way or another so people understand that this is a serious matter. So they will try to get you to do push-ups so you don't forget next time to put your mask or something like that. But if you refuse to do that, then after you'll have to pay the fine, and then you can go on your way. So yeah, there's also other things to do with Bali and the laws and the regulations that you have to follow in case you're in Bali. Something very important you have to know about Bali and about Indonesia as a whole, that at the moment they have their fourth wave, so they have a little bit of spike of cases. So if you're planning to go there for holiday in June, July or August, you have to of course check how the situation is there at the moment. They're trying to control it, as other 8 countries here in Asia all are going through the same thing. All countries in Asia are going through either a third spike or a third wave or a fourth wave. So you need to of course check whether you're allowed even from your country to leave and go to Indonesia or Bali. But if you're deciding to go to Bali, it's kind of okay because Bali has the least number of cases of COVID-19 in Indonesia. So if you go to Indonesia, you land in Jakarta and directly take an internal domestic flight to Bali, you're kind of okay, you're fine, because they have managed a very good control of COVID-19 in Bali, mainly because they didn't allow any kind of international flights to land in Bali. All flights have to land in the capital city in Jakarta, and then from there you have to take a internal flight to Bali, and you have to have a PCR test. So be very careful now when you want to go to Indonesia. If you're not in Indonesia at the moment and you want to go to Bali, you have to go first to the capital Jakarta. You have to have a PCR test to get on a flight to go to Bali. So you have to be negative and COVID-19 negative, no COVID-19 whatsoever, and then they will allow you to go to Bali. And let me be honest with you guys, time changes a lot here in Indonesia. What I mean by time, the time for lockdown, the time for curfew, it changes. It can 1 week be like that, and the next, after a couple of weeks, it changes completely. So don't be surprised if restaurants, if shopping centers, when you go to Bali, that they're closed at 9 p.m. or 7 p.m. That can happen maybe because of that on that week the cases spiked, so that can happen so easily. So don't be surprised and get ready for that. Most of the attractions are open. You have to social distance, of course, you have to be wearing a mask and everything, so most of them are open, so don't worry about that. But something very important, guys, I want you all to know, and I'm not trying to be hard on tourists or hard on the foreigners who go to Bali, but they say 80% of the cases of people not wearing masks in Bali were foreigners. So they're the ones who are mostly doing the push-ups, and they're the ones who are mostly paying the fines. So yeah, does that mean that Indonesians themselves, they didn't break those laws? Of course they did, but in Bali, 80% were foreigners who are breaking those laws. Okay, so let's try to follow their rules a little bit better so they don't raise more the fines and make it a bit harder for foreigners to get in the country. So they didn't just fine foreigners just for the sake of their foreigners and stuff like that, and they don't want them there. Trust me, all of these countries that are famous for tourism in Asia, they're really missing tourists at the moment, because tourists bring a lot of money, especially countries like Thailand and of course Indonesia, and in particular Bali in Indonesia. So yeah, generally that is all you need to know about what's happening in Bali at the moment. So if you manage to go there, just keep your mask on at all moments, even if you're alone, even if you're walking on the beach, you have to keep the mask on. And even if you don't have your mask, let's say you're like not really feeling like putting a mask whatsoever, at least let it be very close so you can just in less than a second put it on. Okay, so yeah, but better off always keep the mask on. Finally, guys, I want to tell you about the neighboring countries to Thailand and Indonesia. So the neighboring countries to Thailand and Indonesia are very different. They're very strict with their laws, the COVID-19 laws, the new decrees, and any violator, they really punish them with very, very heavy fines and also jail time in some cases. So let me give you a very small sample about the countries nearby. Let's start with Singapore. So anyone who breaks the COVID-19 laws in Singapore, whether it has to do with obstructing information and obstructing the efforts to control the COVID-19, you have to pay a fine up to 10,000 Singaporean dollars, which is around 235,000 baht, which is equivalent to 7,500 US dollars. So yeah, guys, be careful careful. Or a jail term. Maybe you can opt for the jail term and go there for 6 months, which is not a good option anyway. Taiwan, anyone who violates the isolation or the quarantine rules can get a punishment up to 1 million Taiwanese dollars, which is around 1.1 million baht. That's a lot of money, guys. That's around 35,000 US dollars. So guys, be very careful in Taiwan. Don't break the rules of quarantine. If they tell you to stay in quarantine, just stay there and complete the 14 or 21 days. In South Korea, if you provide false information, if you're obstructing the efforts to control the disease or something like that, you can get a penalty maximum of jail term of 1 year, and you might pay also 10 million won, which is about 281,000 Thai baht, which is equivalent to $8,000. That's the maximum. So that is for something major. If you do something major, obstructing or something like that, or you have COVID-19 and you hide it, something like that. But if you just fail to wear a mask or something like that, you might be fined 100,000 won, which is around 281 baht, which is around $8. That is if you just forget to wear a mask. And Japan is in it. They're a little bit less strict than the ones I mentioned earlier, but yeah, they also have a punishment which was passed very recently in February. So if you obstruct, you don't follow the rules, and you do something major, maybe causing other people to get COVID-19 because you're hiding it and don't want to go to hospital and you're giving it to other people, you might pay a fine of 500,000 yen, which is around 144,000 Thai baht, which is you can say 4,500 to 4,800 US dollars. That's a huge fine. So these ones, the major ones I'm talking about, when you see that up to that high point, that peak of the fine, that's for people who have done major things. They had COVID-19, they hid it, they gave it to other people, they knew they have it, they gave it to other people, they went and spread it, they ran out of their quarantine, they were told to stay in isolations, they went and mixed with their families, they went and mixed with their friends, they had gathering, they had little private parties. Those people will get those hefty fines and even maybe prison sentencing. But generally, if you just don't wear your mask properly, or you don't wear a mask, or you're not social distancing, if it reaches, like, let's say it becomes a big deal and it reaches to, like, for you paying a fine, it usually won't go over $10, 10 US dollars. So don't worry about that, but just be very careful. You don't know which policeman or which official would see you and what kind of mood would they be in, and maybe you can get yourself in some kind of financial trouble, maybe even prison sentence in case you refuse to pay. So generally that is for the neighboring countries. So I would actually advise you guys, if you want to spend a good holiday, a little bit less hectic, and keep your pockets safe, to go to Thailand or to go to Indonesia. There you would be at least a little bit more free to do what you want, and they will be more nicer with you because they know that you're a tourist and they know always how to deal with tourists in those countries. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. If you like this video, press the like button. Please subscribe to my channel, guys. I need more subscribers. And in the coming videos, there's a lot more information about tourism in Asia, about the COVID-19 situation in Asia. So stick around, guys. There's a lot more content coming on this channel. And thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next video.